shake off that fear, shake off that self-doubt. If you don't believe in yourself, at least believe that God loved you enough to put something within you. Look at Joseph. He was put in a regular family, but he was seeing himself as a prime minister. Before that time, no one had ever been a prime minister in his lineage, okay? No one, Abraham or Isaac, or, and his father Jacob, they had never been any prime minister in their family, but he felt that calling, into the political space. And it was very difficult to explain, and there was never a government of some sort. That had never happened, but that's the dream that he had, and God gave him these dreams, and all those were clues, right, to tell him that this is who you are, this is who you're going to be, and all that was falling perfectly into the purpose of God, but it was difficult for anybody to comprehend. Even his own family could not understand it. Like, how, in what context, in what world will we bow to you? Like it didn't make any sense. But God gave him those dreams, God gave him those clues, and although everything happened the way it happened, I feel like that was God's way. Everything was planned to be that way. God planned it that his brothers should be jealous because he had to get to Egypt, right? Somebody had to take him there. He needed transportation, and then so selling him into that thing was going to be a perfect way to get him there, but also it was going to be a perfect way to deal with his heart, right? So by the time he gets to where God is taking him, he's not going to be having like vengeance and just like resentment to his family for what they did to him, betrayal, utter betrayal for what they did. For years he was dead to his father and the brothers. I mean, it's your brothers, it's your blood, but they did that to him. And by the time that they found him, he was not the same person, and he's able to say, what you intended for evil, God used it, and God used it, and God still does use it. So he turns out everything for good, and that is the good news, and that is what is so amazing about our God. He's able to change and turn everything into our favor. He's able to bring it all to work together. And at that point, everybody was grown and mature. His brothers had changed. He himself was in a place where he knew that, this is from God. This was bigger than me. I'm not going to be petty and make everything about me. Life does not revolve around you. There is a God. There is a big picture. There is a generation. God was thinking about generations. This was not about Joseph. It was not. And sometimes I can get caught up and think, it's about me. No, you were just a tiny speck in the grand scheme of things. God is looking at generations. God is looking at people who are going to come after you. And Joseph had to go to preserve an entire generation. And that's what God was trying to do. And he went through hell, okay? It wasn't great being a slave, okay? It wasn't great being sold away from your family and you don't know where you're going. People are speaking a different language. It wasn't cool to be working as a servant when you had a home, you had a dad, you had everything, you know what I mean? It was pretty bad. I don't know, maybe they were not kind to him. It wasn't cool to be thrown in a prison and have to work, as a prisoner. It wasn't good. For what? For nothing, right? He stood for God. He did the right thing. He ran away from committing a sin against his God, and he was punished for it. Have you ever been in that situation where you're just trying to honor God and you lose your job over it, right? You're just trying to obey God and some consequence happens, some negative thing happens, and you're like, what? So maybe I should have just done it, right? Have you ever been that place? But that's what it is. And sometimes those are tests that God gives us to test our integrity, because God is not going to give us something big. The Bible says that if you are faithful in the small things, you're going to be faithful in the bigger things. And so your level of faithfulness in that small place, that place where you feel like nobody is watching, God is watching. How about that, right? God is watching you in that space. God is watching your levels of accountability. God is watching, your stewarding. Yes, we are stewards for all the gifts and the things that God gives us. And so God, maybe you're at a job right now, you don't even like that job, but God has given you that job because there are other people who do not even have that job. So how are you being a good steward at that job? Are you doing a great job there? Because God is watching, and depending on how you're going to handle that, that's going to open a door for a bigger promotion, for the dream job that you want. The Bible says nobody is going to give you. If you cannot be faithful in the small things, nobody's going to promote you. Promotion comes for somebody who's been faithful in the little. The Bible says that because you've been faithful in the little, come, I'm gonna make you a ruler over much, right? So I think most of us have a tendency to just look down upon the stages of life that we're at, because that's not where we want to go. Our focus is always on the destinations, and so we despise the little things that God has given us, and yet those are the tests that God is going to use, that because you were faithful in this thing, now we're going to promote you, now we're going to take you around, we're going to give you something bigger. But we take things for granted. When we're in school, we're like, we're not doing our best, we're just giving our bare minimum, we're out there doing as if we're doing anybody else a favor, and yet it's our own life. Promotion will come to us, we're going to school as if we're trying to help, we're doing a favor to our parents. Hey, 7th grade, 9th grade, or 12th grade, wherever you are, you're not doing it for anybody. This is your life, right? This is your life. You are setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up for mediocrity. If you're not going to put in so much, no promotion will come to you. You will graduate, yes, you will move from one stage to another, but you're going to limit your success. You're going to limit your life. If you do mediocre things, you're going to have a mediocre life. So you have to be able to learn that in every phase that you are, appreciate it, be grateful, and be a good steward at that place. Because even if you're the only one in that little room, God is watching you. God is watching you. And God's eye is the most important eye. God is the most important person in the audience, because He's able to change your life in a moment, in an instant. He's able to change your life. He's actually able to do something about it. Even if people come and call you, God is the one who causes. The Bible says that God turns the hearts of kings. So it's God who causes all those people to move in your behalf, to favor you. But if you're not doing a good job, and God is noticing that your attitude just it just stinks. Let's be honest. You're always complaining, you're always whining, and there's nothing good for you. Your life is I don't know, your life is hell, right? But that's not the truth, because there's always good in your life. First of all, you are alive. How about you're grateful for that? Why can't you be grateful for that? You are alive, you are breathing. The people who are not alive today, they would want to be, but they're not here. Okay, you have good health. You're not in a hospital bed. You're not fighting for your life somewhere with some cancer or some terminal illness. You are alive, you're breathing. That is something to be grateful about. So we need to work on our attitude. We need to just lift up our gratefulness, the levels of gratefulness. Let's take it up a little bit and be very intentional, and also pay attention to yourself. Okay, every time you catch yourself like just whining, just pull yourself back and restrain yourself and just say, what, there is a million things that I could complain about, but I want to be grateful that God, thank you for the breath that I just took. Thank you for this next breath, Lord, because you didn't make that happen. You don't make yourself do that. That was purely God's grace, right? So I know that I've spoken about a lot of things, I've touched on so much, but I really hope that you guys were able to pull out something out of this and just use it in your own life. And I pray that God is going to just take you on a journey of self-discovery, that if you would dare to be curious and just take a self-exploratory journey about who you really are. I feel like most times we live outwardly too much. We're looking for treasures out there, but I honestly believe, I'll tell you this, with all my heart, I believe that everything that we need for life and godliness, God has already given us. I believe that 100%. It is not out there, everything is within us. You're going to have to pull out the thing within you every single time. I know this from the Bible. God has never had to go to create a new thing outside Himself. He created a creation and it was done and it was finished. And Adam needed a partner. God did not go and start forming another woman, another out of dust. God just pulled her out of Adam, right out of Adam. The woman was already in Adam. So everything that you need, I believe it is already in you. When we need a new tree, we just get the seed from that same tree. We plant it. We never have to go and manufacture new seeds. The tree is within the seed. Oh, I feel the power of the Lord on that one for somebody, because you have despised yourself. You have thought there is nothing to you. You've thought, okay, I have to borrow from somebody, or I have to imitate somebody. You're trying to imitate the people around you, the people you admire. Listen, it's good to have people that we admire. I also have people that I look up to. So many people that I look up to. But you do not have to think of yourself as nothing. We look up to them to draw inspiration. That is it. To say that if God was able to take that person's life from A to Z, God is able to use my life as well. So we use other people for inspiration. You don't have to start pretending to be somebody who you are not. You are never going to succeed at that, and you're going to be frustrated frustrated and you'll not be able to keep up with it. But when you are your real self, that's where fulfillment is. Fulfillment is in being who you really are, who God made you to be. And that is the place where you will find fulfillment. And that is the person that God is going to bless. That is the person that heaven will back up, because heaven is not going to back up what you're pretending to be. Heaven is not going to back up that show that you're making up, that facade, that mask that you're wearing. Go to God with true authenticity. Strip yourself. Go to Him. Go be real with Him and ask Him to help you to discover who you really are. The world is going to be blessed by you. We don't want another so and so or another so and so. We already have those people, right? They say be yourself, everybody else is taken. We want you to be you. That's where we're going to get inspired. We want you to share the gift of you. Do not deprive us of you, because you is a masterpiece. You is a treasure. You is a force to reckon with. You is what we have not seen before, right? What has I not seen? We have not seen you before. We want you. You are the X factor. You are the wow factor. So if you remove that from yourself and you put on a facade and you try to get a personality that is not yours and you try to be like somebody else, be yourself. Yourself is enough. God created you, okay? God created you. God is the grandest master. He is the best creator there ever been. You is enough. Somebody, please, if you have not heard anything today, just remember you are enough. Creation is grounding for you to manifest, for you to step up and be who God called you to be. Be who God called you to be. So today, arise, shake off that thing that is keeping you away from being who you are. Shake off that fear, shake off that self-doubt, and start trusting in God. Like, if you don't believe in yourself, at least believe that God gave you something significant. At least believe that God loved you enough to put something within you. At least believe that God is able to do something with your 2 fish and 5 loaves, and hand it over to Jesus. Hand it over to Jesus. If you don't think it can be anything, give it to God. Try God and let God work with it, because God is not asking for anything that we don't have. God is not insensitive like that. God is not like that. He cannot come and demand for something that He knows you don't have. He only asks you for something that He knows that you have. He only gives you something that He knows that you're capable of doing, because He gives you according to your ability. He knows your individual ability. And so give it to God. Give it to God and let Him do something with you. Give your life to God. Let Him make something out of you. Let Him make a message out of your mess and feed thousands and millions of people. Your life is going to change people. Somebody is tied to your life. Somebody is depending on you. Somebody is depending on your story. Is going to encourage somebody out there. Don't hold yourself back. That is a lie from the enemy trying to tell you that no, shut up, shut up. That's what they taught blind Bartimaeus. Shut up, shut up. No, shut up. Refuse to shut up. Refuse. Say, this is who I am. This is what God made me. This is the passion that He put in me. And God, this is what I have. I'm bringing what I have. I'm bringing all of me. This is who I am. And maybe this is not enough for the world. Maybe this is not pretty enough. Maybe this is not cute enough. Maybe this is not belted enough. I do not hit key G or whatever. I don't know, but this is what I have. This is what I am, and God is going to use you. Do you think that David had so much strength to throw a stone and kill a whole giant? No, all he had were 5 stones, but that's what he had. And he knew that God put it on his heart that that is you. You are going to go and defeat that person. God put that. He had that burning thing. Everybody heard Goliath coming out, insulting the armies of God, insulting them. And everybody was like, but David heard that, and it was different. For him, he was moved. He felt something burn under his eyes. He said, no, he was highly burdened and bothered, and that to a point that he wanted to do something about it. Right? What are you passionate about? What are you passionate about? That is God telling you, go, 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 go.